you started boxing as a young woman?
Well, for me, I was homeless. Both of my parents passed away when I was 18, and I just was trying to figure out how I was going to take care of my children. I didn't know how to. I couldn't read. I couldn't write. I could fight. Boy, could I fight.
How hard was it for you to kind of break through?
It was all male, so it was pretty tough. So I was like, train me like a guy, train me like a fighter. And I went from there, and I never stopped. I was always the opponent. So I started from the bottom. I didn't have the promoter and the nice, where they get fights. And my first 5 fights, I fought 2 world champions, knocked both of them out. I wasn't boxing. I was, like I said, I was fighting
What kept you going?
my children. I was homeless. My mom passed away. My father was murdered. I had no education. I did not want to go to prison. I didn't want to be a bum. I wanted to be a good mother. I wanted to be a good mom. And that's what motivated me. Because boxing is one of the hardest things you can do. Bright lights and shining stars, man. Before you get to the bright lights and shining stars, the work and the dedication and the sacrificing that you have to do, it's out of this world.
How do you view women's boxing now?
I view it as at least they took the opportunity and went with it. Because I didn't pick up a pair of gloves till I was 24 years old. I had 3 amateur fights. I didn't learn how to box until I started training. So I skipped over. I started at 150. I went from 150 all the way through the entire women's division to super heavyweight. So it wasn't easy for me. There was no promoter. There was no manager. I was the opponent. It just so happened I continued to knock asses out. And that's how I became. I had to be rough and tough and tumble. It wasn't given to me. I didn't have skills. I had power and determination. And it just so happened everyone they put in front of me, I destroyed.
What was your most satisfying moment in the ring if you had?
Vonda Ward. Because only Vonda Ward, only because she was the super heavyweight champion of the world. I fought at 150. That is 50 pounds. I skipped over. I went from junior middleweight, I skipped over middleweight and went to super middleweight and then went to light heavy, all in 2 years. So when Vonda Ward came down I said, if I can beat the heavyweight champion of the world, women boxing is not as wide open and it's not as, it doesn't have as many people as male boxing. So it's gonna take a little while for it to build itself up. But I barred none. I fought everyone who would put a pair of gloves on and stand in front of me. I fought them.
And then you transitioned to a trainer. What was it like, trying to teach young fighters, men and women, young fighters coming up?
For me, transitioning to a trainer is because there was nothing left in boxing. There was nothing left in women's boxing, but I love the sport. So it's like, if I can train a female, okay. But if I could train a male on a top level, ranked number 1 in the nation, number 1 in the world, I'm training. So they respect me. So they underestimated me at first when I was a trainer. But then they began to respect me. So either way, fear me or respect me, but give me my just due.
Do you feel you've gotten your just due?
Yes, I have, because I'm here right now.
And this was
I'm not playing second fiddle. They've given me, I worked. I didn't get it handed to me. I wasn't this or that. I came from the ground. I was homeless. And I asked God, I said, how am I going to take care of my children? And a voice came to me and said, fight. And I came from the ground homeless to being inducted into the Hall of Fame. American dream.